Okay. Hi guys, hi everyone. Welcome back to the class Consumer Behavior 2020. And this is chapter 10. So for this chapter, I will teach you in on the topics of the group influence and social media. Because but before we go into the detail, you need to realize that is not actually just for yourself have the influence to your decision making, but the other people around you, including your friends, your parents, or sometimes your uh, relatives also influence to your decisions. And the reason that we need to understand the impact of social media is because right now we use a lot of the social media, and the social media play very important roles and change the behavior of the consumer forever. Okay, so here is the objective of this chapter. First one, other person who have a kind of the social power can influence to use a lot. So the social power in this case, we're gonna teach you some person who might have some specific power, like police will have some power in order to make you do something or not to do something, like obeys the rules, don't make the traffic light, like red light violation, or the doctor, if the doctor says something to you, that means you need to follow him because he is the expert who will tell you what you should do, what you should not do. Or we might have the other social power from the person around you. For example, maybe your parents. Or if you want to know something more in specific details, you're gonna Google or searching more information via the internet and read the review. So this is how social power gonna influence to you. And then normally we tend to find the person who think the same thing or who share the same interest. So it's normal because normally we want to talk with the person who think the same thing or share the same idea. So we need to have that one in order to understand more what you should do for your marketing as well. And we are motivated to buy the products or use the product in order to be consistent. So if you claim yourself you are high society person, so you try to use the brand name, you try to use the luxury car, you try to use very expensive jewelry. So this is how the group influence kind of affects to you too. Then specific people sometimes have more influence to you and your product choice. For example, if you want to buy some products to your girlfriend, so you might think a lot, and the best way you gonna know, you might have some information from the past experience, or you might ask your her close friends to order to know, oh, what is the things that she really wants. So specific people might have the influence as well. Then the things that other consumers tells about the product is can be both good and bad things. But trust me, uh, the consumer trend to believe the communications from person to person more than advertising. Like if you told your friend that this is very good, it's very delicious, so I would like to eat that again. So your friend trend to believe you more than they just see on the television. So this is how words of mouth, before the technical terms, there's information spread according to the verbal or the speaking things. Is very important. And not just regular words of mouth that we use, the online words of mouth can be used as well. So we can use the online words of mouth in terms of you enter to some website and then you transfer the information that you have to those people. Just like, please try this one because this one is good. So your friend maybe want to trying because they trust you. So this is how online WhatsApp work. And last one, social network. So we talk a lot about social network, and social network actually have very huge impacts in the consumptions and also consumer behaviors. So we have for now we have the fan page, we have the group, we have uh, the chat rooms, we have the chat box in every single topics that you are interested. So this is how and the reason why we need to concern about the group influence and also the social media as well. So I'm gonna go to the detail one by one. So first one, what actually group influence? So group influence is actually maybe just one person or maybe the group of people, but they have the significance on your evaluation, your judgment, your aspiration, and your behaviors. So in other terms, uh, reference groups can be only one people or maybe group of people, but they must have the significant effects like they can change your mind. They can make you feel that you want to buy or not to buy something. So this is how we call the reference group. So they said different groups can have the influence in three dimensions or three ways. The first way is informational influence. So informational influence means that you might have the influence by having the information in order to make your decision making. So in this case, if you're looking for some information from from the person around you, so in this case we call informational. So informational, you might have information in terms of the source from the professionals, the expert people, and also the friends. So again, informational influence is the influence from the person who want to have some information from. Then utilitarians. So utilitarian is the influence that have from the person, not is not the first choice. So you might not need to have more information, but you do care about the person who is important. So in this case, utilitarian influence might be work associated, the colleague, the person who work with, the social interaction, the people who gonna do have some interaction with, and the family. So all of them have the utilitarian influence. So some students ask me, Ajahn, what is the difference between informational and utilitarian? So again, utilitarian is mainly for the other important people, but we did not have this kind of influence mainly for the information perceiving. So if you need more information, if you ask your friend, okay, this is good, that's wrong, or how about this product? So this is informational influence. But if you do care about the person around you, like if I dress like this one, the blue cloth, and then I wear this one for Monday, which is normal Thai people can wear the yellow shirt. So I do care about them. So this is utilitarian influence. Okay. Then how about value expressive? So value expressive is very easy. Like if you do care about your image, your characteristic of the group that you want to be in or the group that you admire or respect. This is how value expressive influence work. So the group influence that you do care is might be, for example, again, high society people. So if you do care and you want to be a part of that member, so you do care about what they're gonna think, they're gonna use. So the high society group is actually value expressive influence because it's direct to your image and the characteristic that you admire. Okay. Then, so when the reference group are important, trust me, not all people have a huge impact on you, right? You might have a huge impact from the person around you, might be your dad or your mom, might be your friends. But in terms of the reference group, we're gonna think about this first. We think about the two dimensions of influence. So when we consider about the reference group in consumer behavior, we will divide into two dimensions. The first dimension is about the purchase in terms of private or your personal use or the public, like you buy something in order to show to the other people. So this is how uh, we need to think about it. Then second one, that is the first dimension. The second dimension is about luxuries or necessity. So you present some product in order to present to the other people that you are rich people in terms of the luxury product that you use or necessity or really need product that you need to use. So it's different in terms of importance. So when we consider consumer behavior, can I consider in both dimensions at the same time? So let me go to this page a little bit more. Okay. So for me, if you purchase something and then you think about private or public, so this is how the brand is important. Think about this one. When you go to some party and you need to show that you use Rolex watch, so it seems like you want to present that you are rich people and you have a good taste for using the product. So in this case, this is the public. So please remember private dimension of private or public, the other side. I mean, private is one side, the public is the other side. For this case, we focus mainly for the brand, but for the products, we will focus on the dimensions between luxuries and necessity. So if the product is very expensive, it means the product is more important. But if the product is everyday use, is it necessity? So the importance of the product is not quite high. Then let's come up to when the reference group are the most important. So the most important things gonna have in case of both brand and product is very important. So if the product is very important, it's gonna be the luxurious product. But if the brand that you perceive is very important, it's going to be for public. So that's the reason why. Normally, for consumer behavior or marketers, when we think about how reference group going to be most important, so they're going to concern in both dimension and but they will focus on the luxuries and the public cities because it's going to present to the other people and then you will perceive this is all uh, this is a good brand or good products or not. So in order to make it more clear, I would like to show these pictures. So this is how reference group influence. Again, we have first dimensions about luxuries and private luxury and necessity. So in this case, please remember luxury and necessity is about the products. But publicly and privately is about personal, right? So this is for brand. So how I remember, if it's luxury, luxury is mean you want to the other people who see that you use expensive products. So this is product oriented. But socially is you need the other people to perceive that you use very good brand. So this is brand oriented. So let's see some example why we need to concern about the reference group influence because it can draw the other attentions and also can link to the meaning of the products. For example, you might see some others actor or actress or famous people love love golfing. So golf clubs, snow skis, and sailboat like yacht. So this is the case that is most important. Like you need to have both public and luxuries dimension. Why we need to concern about this one? Because it is about the public that the other people see you. So we focus on the brand. Then luxury, that means if you have this item, that means the other people gonna perceive you as the rich people. So you have the strong for products. So mostly the consumer behavior analysts and also the marketers concerns about these two terms, luxuries and publicly. So I would like to give you one more case for private and necessity. So again, private is different from the public. So this one is not quite strong for brand, but necessity is also not so strong for product. So this one is the item that you cannot have require for the brand name or the other people to see this is the product that is expensive. So in this case, the example of the product in this category is it is going to be like mattress or the bed, floor lamp, refrigerator, because you don't want to see or to show the other people. Again, if you still get confused, why we need to talk about this one? Because this one is the dimension that you need to concern. And this is how group influence to the consumer decisions. Because if they see the product is luxuries and the brand is socially perceptive or is very good for public. So this is gonna be the most influence for the choice that the group influence gonna make to you because it show you that how to be rich people and also it's how you gonna be like social people. Okay. Then as I mentioned before, we have this some people have the social power. So in this case, social power is actually the ability to change the actions of the others. So if you have this kind of power, you can make some people do or not do something. We have six types of the social power. Let me sip uh, chocolate a little bit. Okay, the first one is reference power. So reference power is actually you trying to listen or to do some action according to the person who you admire or want to copy. Like if you're crazy about Korean singer, then you have Korean singers as the reference power. Information power. So if you have some people who know some things, then you will listen to them before you make decision. This is how information power happen. So in other terms, they said know something other would like to know. So if I want to go to Japan, I might ask some people who travels a lot to Japan. Okay, legitimate time or legitimate power. So legitimate power is about the power in terms of the true authorities, like police, doctors, lecturers, prime minister. They have the true authorities in terms of the job they're doing. So the police have the job by protecting uh, the the people, so they can have the law enforcement to control the bad guys. Expert power. So how about expert power? So it's actually you perceive their expertise. So you will believe or trust that expertise more the other people. So what is the difference between informational power and expert power? Which is actually you looking for the information, right? But expert power have more specific details. Informational power is just regular or ordinary people, but expert power, you want to know some information specifically in some topics from the expert one. For example, if I want to go to 7-Eleven and buy something new. So I may ask my friend, well, what is the new things in 7-Eleven? But if I want to know more about COVID-19 vaccination, so I gonna search more and focus for the reviews or the comment from the doctor. So this is expert power. Reward power and coercive power, I would like to talk in the same time because it's actually the positive side and negative side. So reward power is the power from the person who can give you the reward, the the good result. For example, if you did pretty good job for the examination, I will give you some gift. Though this is reward power, but for coercive power, it's actually if you cheat on the exam and then I found that oh you did pretty bad course I also warned you already. So I will give no score for that case. So this is punishment. So I also have coercive power too. Sometimes I can have many kind of social power in the same time, but it depends on the situation. Like this one. This one is uh, Dr. Smith. So because he is a doctor, so he has the expert power. Again, what is expert power? Expert power is the power that you have from your expertise. So he is a doctor, so he know how to uh, cure your health problem. But actually, he is the dermatologist doctor, the person who take care of the skin. So he have some expertise on the skin. Then when you see the people wear the white shirt, white coat like this one, you believe on being doctor. So this one, being doctor is the legitimate power or the true authorities that they have. Or if you go to the court, then they may have some people who wear the black cloth that gonna be the judge for your case. So you will believe on his power. So this is legitimate power. Okay. Actually, the reference group can be externals, not just for the person around you. So they can be anyone. So they said any external influence that provide the social clues can be the reference group as well. For example, reference group can be the cultural figures like the Buddha, the Jesus Christ, Dalai Lama, or maybe Elvis Presley, because it's linked to the cultures, but this can be person or just imagine as well. The parents, political party, and club can be this type of reference group as well. Sometimes reference group not have the size. It can be large or formal organization, or sometimes it can be informal and small group of people. So it can be a reference group as well. Like you have a group of people who are your family. So this is the reference group that have very strong effects to your decision. They said small informal group can have more power and influence on individual consumers, like I just mentioned. If you live in the big community, but you have the small group of your family, and those small group is the key point for doing something because you have interaction each other, and when you have interaction you're going to have more powerful influence. Then our parents maybe play important roles in our life, in our values. That is very correct, especially for the Eastern culture, because your mom, your dad, your person around you gonna have some influence in terms of decisions on the marry, the college, and the job. Like if you ask Thai student and and ask them, what is a job that your parents need you to be? So mostly gonna be like doctors or engineer or maybe um, the job that you can have more money. So in this case, this is how your parents influence to you. So this is example of reference group. So reference group influence can be two types. First one, normative influence. So normative influence is the influence from the standard that the people who close to you, like your parents, can just put on you. For example, um, for your mom and your dad, they raise you by teaching a good things, what you should do, what you should not do. What is the polite ways to say? What is the good things that you would like to contribute to the society? So this is how normative influence happen. So again, normative influence is actually the influence from the standard that is set. Maybe I use this term fundamental standard, the principle or the majority standard that you need to follow. So in this case, you need to have it because it's gonna make you have a good life in the society. Then we can have the other one, comparative influence. So comparative influence is happen when your decisions about your specific brands or activity are affected by the group of people who share the same interest, who share the same liking. So in this case, when you want to buy a new motorcycle, you might ask some people who are in the fan page or in the specific group. For example, what is the motorcycle that should be used the best in next year, or what type of the car that is gonna be good, or how about electricity's car, this is good or bad. So this is comparative influence. So in conclusion, again for this page, normative influence is about the fundamental standard that person around you or specifically from your parents gonna teach you. So this influence is help you to be good people or to live in the society easily because this they teach you the things that you need to follow. So this is normative influence. Then, but if your influence is come from the other people opinion that share the same interest, this is comparative influence. So, as we talked at the beginning, normally we would love to share the idea to the people who have the common interest. Like we think about the same thing, we know about the same thing because it's like you have the same language. So if you have this type of situation, what you're gonna have next is you're gonna create the brand community. So the brand community is a group that you share almost everything about your interests, like emotions, moral belief, style of life, affiliation products. It's like you share the things together in every dimension. So the marketers know brand community gonna be very huge, important roles for the business. So what they do, they can create some event like we have the Mini Cooper brand community. So the marketer just set the event like we're gonna have um, every year coming back festival. So Mini Cooper around gonna be grouped together and they're gonna share the idea. Maybe share the trip that they're gonna plan to go, or maybe share some equipment that you can use for fixing or decorating. So this is many marketers do this one because they want to create a brand royalty, and then brand face or the festival enhance the brand royalty. And finally, they have some good example that they always do is Mini Cooper brand community and Harley Davidson brand community. So the key point for brand community is they trying to group the people to that have the same thing, and then when they share, they can have some interaction and increase the sales of the product. And then when you be in the group, you can have more power than just be individual. Then membership reference group and aspirational reference group. So I would say this is uh, very different. The membership reference group is actually the reference group or the group of people who actually you know him or her, like people we know in our family friendship group or even the colleague. So this is the membership group. So how about aspirational group? Aspirational group is different. Like you don't know them, but you admire or you respect them. But these two type of reference group can be used different dimension. If you want to draw attention from the mass media, from the normal consumptions, from the regular use people, so you need to use ordinary people, like normal people. Like a good example is the advertisement on the clothes. So if you can use the normal people and put your products on their body, then it look good. So it's have more influence than you use the famous people. But for aspirational reference group, they tend to use the they're gonna use the person who are celebrity or spoke people, like the people who talk something and the other people listen to you, or the sport women. Why we have aspirational? Because you need to draw the attentions from by using the fame or the popularity from the person. It's good for some product, but keep in mind sometimes some people think if you use the famous actor or actress, is you cannot reach to them because they are quite very high standard. So it depends on the type of the product and the purpose of the advertising. If you want to draw attention from the large group and your product is regular use or just normal use, not have something like expensive or it's going to be very dangerous thing. So you tend to use the ordinary people in terms of memberships reference group. But if you want to have a huge impact, and then many people focus and interested on your products, you tend to use the aspirational reference group, and then you're going to use the famous people. So what is the factor that is used for predicting how they going to be grouped together? So in other terms, what is the point that you need to concern to have the reference group membership? The first one is propinquity. So propinquity is asking, describing in terms of the distance that you have when you are in the group, which means if the physical distance between people decrease and interaction increase. So for example, if you have a group of the people who love playing basketball, then you can close together by having some activity together many every week. So propensity is reduced, and then you have more interaction, and you tend to be the group membership more. Then mere exposures. So they said if you see something very often, like many times, you tend to feel like you are in the group member. Then group cohesiveness. So group cohesiveness is actually the degree that you uh, you present in the group, like you contribute something to the group. So there's a degree of the member attracted to each other and how much each value their membership in the group. So if you are an Amway group, like the direct sale group, then you are the boss in that group. So you have the feeling like you are very you can be called as a premium group membership. So in this case, this is called group cohesiveness. Again, group cohesiveness is actually the degree that you feel and share into the group, and also uh, the value that you give into the group. So if you have high positions and you have high responsibility, you tend to have more group cohesiveness and is linked to the group membership. So they said if the value of the group increase, the group will influence on the consumption decision. In all three factors here, propensity, mere exposure, and group cohesiveness. If you can have this a lot, all of them, then what you're gonna have the influence from consumption decision. So if some people in that group use or not use some product, it's gonna affect to use a lot because for now you are already to be the group membership. Okay, so this is how we need to think about the group memberships in terms of the group influence. And then they said smaller, if your group is small, so you can tend to have more cohesiveness. So which means if you have very small group of people, you share the value, and then everyone have importance, have the values to do. So that is how you feel like if you are in the smaller group, so you can have more group cohesiveness. The other example that I would like to talk to you is like in my department, actually in my school. In my school, we have just 20. No, it may be just program that should be better. So I'm a member of food scientist or food science and technology program in School of Agro-Industry. We have 12 members. So we have 12 members. That means we are pretty close together. So the propensity is increased. Mere exposure we see is others a lot in almost every day. And we can have the group cohesiveness because we are the small group. So every people have the value that need to contribute to the program. So every time we have a good result, we're gonna feel the same thing. So this is how group cohesiveness happen. Then reference group can be both positive and negative. So it might not always positive. So sometimes reference group can provide a positive influence and negative influence to you. So for example, um, for some group, they believe in some people, and then if you be in the group, you tend to believe in that idea. But actually, if you don't feel like it's good, so you might have the negative influence because you don't trust on the majority. So this is how reference group can be both positive and negative. And then sometimes we also have this situation we call dissociative reference group, which is some group of people don't want to get close or to be the same position as the other people have. So we're going to talk about this next page. But for the last thing on this page, marketers show as sometimes this is the technique that they would not use because it's quite not fair. They know that dissociative reference group happen when not all people think the same thing. Some people don't like to be in the group of some group. I mean, like I don't like to be in the group that use luxury products. So I gonna keep the distance from me and that group. So this is how dissociative reference group happen. Then marketer know this one too. So marketer gonna create the impact on the negative reference group by just ask undesirable people and use the competitor products. Like if your product is for very rich or luxury type product, then you have the competitor in the same brand, like in the same position, in the same product. Then you use your competitor product and ask for the maybe just undesirable people just mean just the people that you don't want to to allow them to use the product. For example, for I have ever seen some cases that they use the homeless people. Then that company just gave them the competitor's product and see the reaction. Why they do that? Because it's present to the image of the products. If you have a good quality product and then your consumer is going to be top quality too, but if your competitor claim that this is high quality product and then just homeless people or people who don't have much money do they use it, so that's make the other people feel like, oh, the competitor product is not good. Of course the image is very bad because the homeless people or poor people use it. So this is the trick that marketer can use, but I don't agree to use it. Then, according to the previous page, some group don't want to be in. Some people don't want to be the same as or don't like the idea that some group have. For example, they don't want to be the materialistic. They think materialistic people is bad. Of course, the money that you have, you're gonna spend for buying the products. So in this case, we call avoidance group. So the group that avoid to be in with the other group. Sometimes you think you don't want to be counted as a group of nerd student. Like they always uh, reading the books or just stressed with the study and you don't want to be nerd like that, so what you're gonna do, you will have some action which is separate from the nerd group. You might not want to wear the eyeglasses like that because it's refer to the nerd group, or you don't want to carry the books because it's going to present the identity of the nerd one. But the case that is happen in the reality is anti-branding community. So normally people love or crazy on the celebrity, on the famous people. But in some case, they don't like about that too. They think celebrities or the famous people have much influence on the decisions, especially for the luxury products or materialistic issues. So what are they gonna do? they can distrain or they can take away, like take far away distance from the the situation that celebrity have. So in this case, because social, sometimes we can have the social idealists who advocate non-materialism lifestyle. So this group of people tend to ban the product that is materialistic or the famous or the big company like Walmart, Starbucks, or McDonald's, and support the local vendors. Like in Thailand, we ever have this situation as well, but it's not quite work. So we can have this situation in terms of the Sharon Pokapan products. So in maybe I forgot the year, but is ever happened. This group of people don't want to follow or don't want to buy the product from Sharon Pokapan or CP. They thought Sharon Pokapan just tried to control every single part of the food. So they do almost everything that consumer gonna like, and then they set the branch around in the big city. So after that, the grocery store has a problem because the price is more expensive than grocery store. So in this case, they have some group of people who want to ban the product from CP, but it's not quite work. Or it's just small group, and the Thai consumer still prefer to have everything easy or convenient. So that is the reason why Jaran Pokapan and they take care of 7-Eleven as well is gonna be stand still for a long time. Like they they will try to control more or have more um, influence for the food products. So next one, consumer do it in group. That's me. Normally we have individual identity. We have own identity, but in some situation when you want to do something together, like in party, like in Halloween party, what are you gonna do? You're gonna remove your identity for a while, just for temporary. Like that situation we call de-individuation. De is mean just remove. So that means you just remove your identity for a short time, and then you trying to be do follow with the themes of the event, like the prom day that you're gonna wear a very good dress and then just dance and dance. Actually, you might not want to wear that type of clothes, but you need to follow it. So in this case, we call de-individuation. The other things that you need to concern when you are in the group is we can have social loafing. So that's normal. Think about the when you have a group work, they said people don't devote as much tasks when they contribute is part of the larger group. So if you work in group, you have 10 members. Then you might have social loafing situation, which is some people, some student, some of your friends don't want to do something, don't want to do anything. This is social loafing. Risky shift. Risky shift will happen again when we have the people in the group because when you make some decision, if the decision made by yourself is your responsibility, but when you make decision and it's be part of the group decision, it will make you feel like you do not want to care more when you compare with the personal decision making because it's like you share the risk to the other people. Okay. Last one, diffusion of responsibility is linked to the risky shift because individuals are less responsible to the outcome when more people get in the decision. We always have this problem in every culture. For example, when they want to buy something expensive to the company, then they need to set the committee in order to think about it, and then we're gonna have the head of the committee to think about that again. So in this case, every decision making from the group of the committee gonna be more. Uh, sorry, the decision making that you have from the committee have less risk because you did not make it by yourself. You maybe use the majority of the the concern or the evaluation from the group. Factors influence the conformity, but before we talking about the factor, please talk about conformity first. So what actually conformity? So conformity is the social influence that can change your belief or action. In other terms, I would like to use instead of the conformity is be grouping. So grouping by influence of the social. So they said again, conformity is the social influence changing the belief or action as the reaction to real imagined group pressures. Other terms, other of my friends use like not grouping. It could be mob or just um, small company like that. So I would say it's like grouping. So conformity can be cultural pressures, can have the influence from the cultural pressures. Like for Thai people, we need to respect the older people. We need to show the signs like why because that you bow your head and say "swaddy krap" like hello. So this is the cultural pressure. If you don't do that, you're gonna be looked bad from the other people. Then fear of deviance. So this is the basic things that people don't want to be punished. They don't want to be the bad thing that gonna look for the other people. So in order to do that, we need to conform or agree with something. In this case, you will not do bad things because you don't want to, you fear to be different. So we call fear of deviance. Commitment. If you have a group and then you commit to be one person or maybe one important person in the group, so you try to have more conformity. Because if you was maybe for example, if you have a group of the student, then you are the president of the student. You have more job, you have more responsibility. Then it's like you have the commitment or agreement to do something with this group. Then community is like grouping that I mentioned. Well, they have some characteristic that you need to think when is conform together. Sometimes they use this type of rules they call mob mentality rules, which is when you need to have the conformity of grouping. The member in that group should be think the same thing or consensus. Then the size it should not be quite is the size it depends. Sometimes conformity can have very small size, but sometimes they can have large size. Then they should have some objective to do, or they need to have some expertise to run the conformity. For example, we have a group of people who don't think um, the pollution is can be tolerance anymore. Like you feel like it's the time that you need to change the air pollution problem in Chiang Rai. Then what you need to have the object of the group. For example, you need to the group objective is like we need to send the message to some organization to protect the the weathers that we have. I think I hear some sounds of the music. I'm sorry about that too. Because it's quite close to the other house. Okay, last one for factor influence the community is the susceptibility to interpersonal influence, which is mean actually we need to have other think of him or her directly, highly. So when you have the conformity, you need to have this type of person, this type of person who's gonna be uh, who need to have some attention, some importance from the other people. So this is all factor that influence the conformity. Then we can have the social comparison. Social comparison theory is described in terms of you compare with the other people in the society. So in this case, we said we look at the other people behaviors to inform the reality. So you compare something with the other people in order to see who you are right this time. It occurs as a way to increase the stability of the self-evaluation. So if you set yourself to be one thing, and then what you're gonna do for social comparison, you compare to the other people and see where you are right now. If you think you are the rich people, and then you see your friends use more expensive products, then you're gonna think about okay, where am I now? Am I also classified to the high society, or I need to buy something more? So this is social comparison. Then we tend to choose the co-oriented peer. So the person who share the same idea, same interest, same goals, same needs, same perspective, because when we form the social comparison, because we need to have the same standard. So in this case, we always compare with the people who think they are the same or share the same things together. Then opinion leader. So if you think what is the best way to change the idea or the attitude from the consumer, you need to have this type of people, the people who are going to be opinion leaders. So opinion leader is the person who can change or who have some influence on the attitude and the behaviors. For example, for opinion leaders in Thailand, it's going to be the famous I forgot her name. Maybe the famous people like prime minister. I did not say he is good or bad, but he says something. It's also influence to our attitude and behaviors. Okay, this is how opinion leaders happen. So there are some characteristics of good opinion leaders. The first one is he or she should be expert in that area, because that's opinion leader gonna be the person who know the best in that topic. Then unbiased evaluation. So you do not need to have biased people in making any decisions when you are in the group. Then socially active. So you can talk, you can share, you are willing to do the social activities, similar to other consumers. This is also the key point. In order to reach, in order to have the attention from the other people in the same group, you you need to be similar. You don't need to set the hierarchy or the level, which is going to be different. And then it should be good if you be the first person who trying to do anything or be the reviewer in that group. Okay. And last one is not actually related to opinion leader, but I put here because this is the term that you might see in the futures. We call homophily. So homophily is actually the degree that a pair of person like you and me, for example, is similar in terms of education, social status, and belief. So homophily will happen If we have high homophily, that means you and me have very similar education status or belief. Why we need to concern about this one? Because actually, if you want to change their idea, we're gonna use the person who have homophily because we can have the same thought, we can have the same perception. Okay. And then they ask, do the opinion leaders should be the person who just expert in one thing or who can be expert in many things? I would say if they are expert in one thing, we call monomorphic. But if they can be know well in every different story, so they can polymorphic. They can be polymorphic. But before we go into the details of the social network, I just think about and good examples of opinion leader is like Primly Pim Primi Pie. If I pronounce her wrong name, yes, sorry. She is the person who are opinion leaders because she just did some action that the government will not do it, like making trying to make the well the water trying to reach the water underground, or they put the solar cells to the house that is quite far from the big city. So Pimbi Pai also opinion leader. Or Yaya. Yaya is the famous actress. What she did is she trying to eat something that support the local farmer. So she is the opinion leader as well. Okay. Then talks about the old and new social network. So your right is the new, your left is the old one. See, think about the in the middle, which is the television. Television spread the information to some other company, and then other company gonna send to the consumer. This is how it's happened in the past. But for now, the media is not from the main source, not from the television, but the media can create it by itself and just sharing among the consumer. So this is how the social network for now is completely changing the behavior. So they said influence is driven less by influentials, that the person who have the influence, who able to be influenced, and more by interaction among the group. So I make the conclusion here. They said on your left, which is the old version, in here they have many influencers or the person who gonna send some information to the other people. But for now, they can send by itself by themselves because we have the internet, we have the electronic device that we can share, and it can happen 24/7, like every day, every night, and every time, every hour. Then, in case of opinion leaders, we can have two or three examples of opinion leaders that I will teach you in this class. First one is market movement. So market movement is actually market specialist. So actually, this is the person who know everything's happen about the market. Like what is the new things? What is the worst thing? What is the good things? What is the bad thing? So they said this type of people have ability to transmit or transfer the marketplace information to the other people. So they want to be just they love shopping, they love having some information. Sometimes we can use this term like shopping guru. So if you ask your friend, what is the new what is the color that is gonna famous for next year? That person gonna answer it very easy because they monitor and they know what happened in the market. And market melons also have the knowledge of how and where to get the products too. For example, if I ask you, um, where can I get the wine from France, like 100% authentic? Then they're gonna say, oh, in Chiang Rai, you need to go to this shop and asking for these guys, and then they will give you a very best wine like this one. So that person is market Marvin. Then we can have the surrogate consumers. Actually, I like this one a lot because surrogate consumer is actually not consumer. It is they are actually the intermediate or the middle person between you and the company. So who are they? They are actually the interior design, the broker, the professional shopper, or student consultant. So actually, surrogate consumer is the people who are paid for helping the other consumer in order to make the right decision or the good decision. So in this case, many people think it's not need. Like when you go to some big department store, you do not have any person. But trust me, some specific shop like the construction shop or the company who taking care of making the house, you need to have some information from the expert people like interior design, like this one. So this is how surrogate consumers should not overlook about it because they can give some good information and it can make the consumer want to buy your product more. Okay, so this is surrogate consumer. How we define who is the opinion leaders or who are not. So the easiest ways to do is ask directly or self designation the designating methods. So you can ask them directly. So do you think who is going to be the opinion leader or who going to influence to your decision? So they're going to answer. Finally, you have the information. In some community, the opinion leader may be the head of the village or maybe the famous people in the village. Then this one is very easy because you just ask directly, but sometimes be careful about inflation or overestimate. They think they have very huge impact, but actually they're not. Okay? Or unawareness. But the problem is, it doesn't mean that you ask who is the opinion leader and then you have the answer is done. No, actually, opinion leaders should have the power that make the other people follow you. So in this case, they say sometimes true opinion leader is the person who gives some advice and the other people want to follow the advice. So this is true opinion leader. Sorry. So this is how self-designating methods work. So you can ask the consumer directly by using this example. For example, first one, in general, do you talk to your friend and other neighbor about the products? So they're asking about who is the person who keep the information. But they change a little bit. They said, in general, do you think your friend and neighbor you talk to your friend and neighbor about something. So if you talk a lot, that means you tend to be the opinion leader. You should have number five or number five in discussion of new product. For example, which of the following happen almost like you tell the friends about the new product or your friend tells about new product. So if you tell about your friend's product, you tend to be more opinion leaders because you are the person who contribute the information. So in conclusion here, if you try to answer number five, you are the opinion leaders. That is the easiest one, but We have more difficult one we call sociometric methods. So sociometric method also the methods that you can use to see who is the opinion leaders. So in this case, they use the trace communication pattern among the member. So they're gonna use the systematic map or the spider map. If you remember the activation process, we have the box in each one. It's like that. So it's actually they create the box, they create the pieces, individual piece, then see how it's linked together. Like for me, if I say something, it's linked to my friend, it's linked to my neighbor, it's linked to my dad and my mom. So this is how systematic map work because you can see some interaction. Sometimes your friends and your and my dad, so they can have some interaction together too. Then this is most precise method. This is most accurate, but it's not easy to obtain because you need to think about it carefully, obtain more information, and trying to see the map. They for this method, they normally use the network analysis. So the network analysis is going to be used because we need to see the referral behavior or the behaviors on tell the other people know what happened. Like I send the message to one people and then how one people send the message to the other people. We call referral behaviors. Bridging function, how it's linked, how it's connect. Then if you see some connection, you need to have the strength of tire. So the degree that they link together. So if you have the strong tire or strong strength, that means this is good. Of course, they trying to trust you more than just weak strength. A good example is here. They said John is a wellness coach who running in local yoga studios. One day they need to create a snack bar or refreshment counter. We're gonna provide power bar, tea, drinks, herbs. Then what they're gonna do for sociometric methods is he constant contact his friend and colleague. So this is the beginning. So marketers will take a look who are his friends and then just trying to ask individual friends more how you send information to the other people. Then you can see the map of the spread of information. Okay. Then the marketer will do some more evaluation and see which link or uh, which branch or which way have the strongest information perceiving or what is the best way to send the message. So in this case, you're gonna know what is the best communication methods. What is the best person that you can send the message to. I have this one. This experience might not be quite good. They know that I am a lecturer and many students want to follow me. Then they just asked me to taste the product and then they said, "Can you post this online?" I said, I'm not prepared to do that because I know that what you think. Of course, they need to pay me to promote that product. And I said no. But some study they did by just use famous people and see how famous people just send the message to the other people. That is the reason why they tend to use the famous people in advertising because that famous people can send the message directly to the other people and it's going to be huge impact. Then words of mouth communication. So words of mouth communication is the communication in terms of verbal use, like talk one by one. So words of mouth is actually happen individually, like in person. So words of mouth is is very interesting because it is more reliable from the marketing. the things that you talk to your friend is more reliable than the things that you hear from the media, they said. And social pressure to conform, because when you need to follow with the majority of the group, so word of mouth is spread fast and make you feel like you need to follow it. And this one is influenced by having two-thirds of our sales. Trust me, if you have 100% sales, around 67% usually from word of mouth, like transfer from one person to the other person directly. So this is very powerful, especially for unfamiliar product. Like you have a new product, many people don't want to try it. Word of mouth gonna use in this case because after you hear it and then think, oh, that's still okay. So you try to use it. Then that is the reason why they said word of mouth is actually focus mainly on later stage of product adoption or maybe on the yellow area like here, um, late majority or early majority. Why it's like that? It's not early adoption because word of mouth is going to be used specifically for the product that is not unusual. So if it's not unusual, that means you will not accept it's clear. After you have accept the product and accept word of mouth is okay. But at first, word of mouth is not happen in the innovation phase or early adoption phase. We can talk about adoption curve later on too. The maybe next two chapters. Then bus agent. So they said word of mouth is person to person, but sometimes you can use the uh, technology. Like here, online word of mouth can happen too. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna do the same thing. They ask you to go to the website and then try the products. And then after that, please send the things that you think to your friends. So it's like you talk to your friend, but having some program or some website before you send to your friends. And your friends tend to trust you more because they know who you are, not just not just the other people that they did not know. So they use this trick to draw attention and also send some information direct from person to person. So they said this is an example of how marketers trying to utilize the word of mouth communication. Okay, word of mouth is good. As we talk, this can have a lot sales. It can have the trust. It's fast, but the bad thing is if sometimes word of mouth is the bad information, it go fast as well. So be careful. I always talk to my student that when you do internship, if you did something bad, they will know all of this in terms of the food community because it's fast and then people like bad things more than good things. Trust me. So they said negative word of mouth is easily to spread, especially online. So but sometimes the negative word of mouth might not be from you, but from the competitors. So they're trying to discredit on your products. Or sometimes they we need to concern about distortion or just change during the ways of information transferring. I mean, if you say A, then second person can not maybe say A, but the third person maybe E, O, F. So A from the first is not have in the final like this one. So at first you might draw something on the top left corner. Okay, this is our original drawing, and then one person, two person, and then finally person number 10 from something to be cat. Oh, isn't it? Like here. So transmission of misinformation is very important. Like I said, the farther from the original source, the more distorted the information can happen. So if you are marketers, make sure that the information that you send to the final consumers have the same information that you try to set at first. Then cutting edge of word of mouth influence. So I did not go to the first two details because actually you know what it is, what is happening right now. Social network. So you have your own influential network. You can have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever. So this is the new age of the word of mouth that you can send the information from one person to the other person. Crowded power. So this is marketing strategy by group via the social media. So first two things is about the social media, but in different perspectives. Social media networking. It's like you have the network of the social platform like Facebook, Instagram, like that one. But crowded power is actually you have more group, more being in the group like fan page or a specific space that you can talk something online. Why they do that? Because actually they think groups are smarter than smarter individuals. I have a good example here. For Thai people, you're gonna know the website named Pantip. Pantip is actually the website that you have many members from many occupations, many expertise. Then they come together and group in this website. So if you want to know something, you just type the question and put it there and show in the Pantip website, many people can try to help you. So this is how a group are smarter than individuals because when you are in a group, you can have different information, different perspectives. Sometimes it's will help you might not to judge something wrong too. Then last two things, guerrilla marketing and viral marketing. Let's talk about guerrilla first. Guerrilla marketing is the promotion strategy that's used unconventional, not unusual things. Then they make something to be interesting and then just spread to the words of mouth. Like the first pictures is actually the powder for removing the bugs or the insects from the dog. So what they do, they gonna create the big dog's photo in the floor. Then when you use elevators or when you use when you go up to the other floor, then you look down. The people who just run across or walk across the picture is actually represent to the bugs, to the insect. And then they have the campaign that said, getting off your dog. So this is how marketers trying to draw attention from the consumer. If you say, oh, this powder is good for the dog, no one want to see it. But here, they they think it have something interesting. Or maybe at the first time you saw the dog photo, you might say, oh, why you put the dog? Then you're trying to find this or search the information more. This is work. Then the KitKat cleverly designed. They know that the chair that normally people gonna sit, they should have something interesting like use the wrap or the package of KitKat. Then it's also linked to the products too, like the the chocolate bar inside with the red cover. Then viral marketing. Viral is from virus. So viral marketing is actually you just ask to go some website and then they ask you to forward or send some message to your friend by having a gift or the payment. So in this case, viral marketing is happens a lot, especially if you are a big fan of the shopping things. So they will send you the information like here. Refer friends to get 10% coupon bucks. So they ask you to send the information, then they're gonna give you $10. Why they do that? Because If you are friends, your friends tend to trust you more than the other people. Like here, your name, Ryan David. Then you send the message. I just joined this one, and I get it's amazing. It's 50 to 90% discount. So you try to convince your friend, and then this is how viral marketing happens. So the summary: people in the society, not just you, have the decisions on the products, but sometimes it's not just you. Sometimes you might have some influence from the people around you. We call the social powers. Social powers can be many things, like 6 types of social power that mentioned in the class. Maybe reference power, expertise power. So take a look about that. We are motivated to buy things that are consistent and those and is confront or no is linked to the reference group. You tend to use the product that is the same as you describe or you have the position in the group. For example, every Friday, the lecturer in FU gonna wear the blue shirt like this one, and they have the sign like the logo of the NFU. So you are motivated to wear that shirt because it's you have the reference group in terms of the people who live in NFU, who work in NFU. Word of mouth communication is about the products. It's have very strong when opinion leaders use the word of mouth and maybe more influence than information from the marketer. So the word of mouth actually, as I just mentioned, it can create this. It can link to high sales. It can link to the interesting topics. So don't ignore the word of mouth. Last one, web accelerated the speed of delivery and the powers of word of mouth communication. So website can help you a lot right now to send a message. And then we can have online word of mouth that you can send the information. Maybe you can use some technique, some new technique like guerrilla or viral marketing to help you to spread the word of mouth. So that's all for today's lectures, and feel free to ask me on the live sessions. Then we can share, we can have some discussion more. So don't forget to prepare for the quiz and see you next chapter. Thank you so much.